Alright, hello, and certainly hope you all had a good chance to enjoy the Singapore Grand Prix in real life today. But welcome to the night race here at Abu Dhabi in Lightning Speed Racing Group 2. I'll be your host for tonight, Andrew. Go by Andrew or by Vacant Haddock. Go ahead and choose whichever one you would prefer there. But for those of you you missed it last week, was Group 2 actually had a race around Singapore, a race which was won by Bamboo Vegas in the Haas, which you can see at the bottom there down in P14. And I believe that the Haas is currently second in the Drivers' Championship to Crooner, and that Red Bull, who's currently there in 8th. There's a chance I might be joined by Husky later on to have a little bit of an expanded commentary team here. Hey, so if you want to if after watching this you want to watch another race, it's a little bit quicker, as our Group 1 is our quicker group that runs on Saturdays. Be sure to go give that a look. But we'll take an onboard here with Dodaligo in the Aston Martin. Stream I think is a little laggy. Okay, let me see if I can pull it up a little bit. I know my internet has been struggling lately. As Dodaligo with a spin outside of turn 2. Doubt that's the last time we'll see that happen. So instead, we will go with Elgin. Let me pull up the track map as well. So we got Boring on that first lap. So quickly through the sweeping turns 2 and 3, he invalidates. So we'll go back to his teammate of Elgin, who's on the lap, into this newly reprofiled, I believe, turn 5 hairpin. Going to be really careful on traction out there. Of course, that was the spot where Max Verstappen overtook Lewis Hamilton for the World Drivers' Championship victory last year. Blasting down this back straight, top speeds approaching 210 miles an hour in qualifying, and approaching 200 miles per hour in race conditions through that chicane onto this back DRS straight. Very important traction zone out of here. Going to be really important to get the run down here. Where there used to be that chicane, you now have a long left-hander of, I believe, turn 8 now, at the end of Sector 2, moving into Sector 3. And now, of course, you got this nice triple right-hander, nice hard braking zone. Want to keep it nice and tight to that curb, and be really careful as you come through this much more quicker, more flowing Sector 3 under the hotel and through these last couple of corners. Got this corner opened up slightly, and this one sharpened a little bit more. You got Dodaligo setting the first lap time at 1:37.3. Elgin will jump to the top with a 1:24.9, and all the rest of the drivers will be looking to beat that. James 443 in the McLaren puts in a 1:25.0, which is very respectable. As Dodaligo is out of the session, I believe he had a spin down there at turn 3 or turn 4. You have T3E, I believe, on his LSR debut with a 1:27.4. You have Crooner, the current championship leader, going to the top by over half a second with a 1:24.5 in the Red Bull. You have Bamboo Vegas in the Haas coming to the line next. He will go second with a 1:24.9. Let's see, is there anybody else on the lap? I believe T3's teammate Alexis Beast is coming around. No, he has invalidated his lap, so he will not be setting a lap this time round. I'll also pull up that point. He would have had a 1:28.1, which would have put him a little bit more towards the back. But I believe that's the first big run. I believe Duncan's on the lap, but he's coming up to a little bit of lap traffic up ahead, so he's got to be careful here. Duncan possibly new as well to LSR. If you're watching this after the fact, and you want to have the chance to join the league, I know we have a couple of spots still open for some full-time drivers. Be sure to throw a comment down below, and we'll be sure to get you hooked up with a Discord link, and hopefully see you racing as 25.8. Looking back a little bit, we have Fireball on an out lap. Alexis Beast may be on the lap, along with Speedy Gunner. Formula Jonah will go up into 6th. He's currently sitting 3rd in the Drivers' Championship after a podium last time out in Singapore. One of the co-owners of the league has had some very strong finishes and has pulled a couple of wins as Alexis Beast is now splitting Crooner and Bamboo Vegas with a 124.8. We have Loop 2 Red on a lap, heading through, I believe, turn 5, as Worried Cloud out of the session. I believe that's also at turn 2. We'll probably see more than just one incident later on in this race, just from drivers getting up on that curb. Staying on board with the Williams driver now, coming through this chicane here, very tight and very important to maximize all the gain you can on traction there. Pretty comfortable for Loop 2 Red through there. DRS wide open at the back now. Clean track out ahead of him as he makes his way through this long looping left-hander. Little bit wide, a little bit washed out a little bit there on the exit of that corner. So he's going to have to try to make up some time, maybe a little bit of a lockup as he went into that hard braking zone, and a little bit off the track. Doesn't invalidate, though. Is able to keep it there, and spins it on exit there, almost in front of his teammate Formula Jonah, who will dive into the pit lane here on his in-lap. I believe Fireball is on a lap. Actually, no, that is his teammate Speedy Gunner, up significantly over his first time. Potentially just took a lap to get those tires right into the operating condition he wanted out of the final corner now into the line. He will go 8th fastest. Fireball, his teammate will be coming up behind him and will be the next across the line, as Luke 2 virtually in that Sector 1 area where you can get on the curb and it can be very, very deadly. So we have Crooner here, I believe, on a bit of an in-lap, as that sector time is rather high, as Duncan has dropped it as well, and that's 4 drivers out of this qualifying session already. These drivers are just having lots and lots of trouble staying off of those curbs at turn 2 and turn 3, as I believe Crooner is now starting a lap and is going to have to keep an eye out for some of those cars around. Very clean and staying well away from those curbs on the inside, taking a little bit to that outside as he goes down into this more looping and slightly banked hairpin and powering down onto this back straight. And Crooner and Bamboo Vegas, of course, the two championship leaders in the Red Bull and the Haas, which you can see that Haas in the background there. Coming up to the chicane now. It's going to be very interesting to see how they sort out throughout the race, as well as the midfield battle, which can certainly be interesting. This track, very good for overtaking, particularly in this game, which was very much shown yesterday, as Crooner 2 tenths up and purple in that middle sector. Bamboo Vegas, meanwhile, where will he slot? I didn't miss that sector time there, but we'll have to wait and see where he slots in. So here comes Crooner through this final sector. He's going to hope that Alexis Beast in that Alpha Tauri, I believe, stays out of the way. Either that's Alexis Beast or T4. But here they come to the line now to set their second laps of qualifying. A little bit looser Crooner on the exit there, but he goes half a second quicker than his previous time. Can Bamboo Vegas improve and potentially challenge? He goes second quickest, but he's 7 tenths down on the Red Bull of Crooner. Alexis Beast, invalidating earlier in the lap, currently sits third. We have Elgem currently on the lap. He's a little bit up as he makes his way through the chicane on the backside before powering down that back straight. Yellow flag down in Sector 2. I believe that's just a driver making way. I believe that's Formula Jonah making way for some other drivers. But here we have Elgem in the Mercedes, making his way through now. Elgem sitting 4th in the Drivers' Championship. Currently, really just the best of the rest as it stands, sitting on 44 points. So looking for a strong showing here to potentially increase that, to get a little bit up on that 4th place. Comes into this final corner now. Can he keep it clean on the exit? Not too loose, pretty clean, and he will go 3rd fastest. He will go faster than Alexis Beast. East was dived into pit lane. James, meanwhile, is over a quarter of a second up on his original time, and he's going to be looking to keep it nice and clean through these final couple of corners. Yellow flag in this final sector, so he has to watch out a little bit for that Alpha Tauri of T34. Clean from James. How far up the grid will he go? He will jump a Lexus Beast and go up into 4th position. Formula Jonah, meanwhile, will be potentially looking to start another lap after having an issue on this first out lap, but it's Speedy Gunner going 8th quickest. On his lap, we have Boring on the lap in the second Mercedes car, but it seems that he's had a long lap too. But almost a visual bug. So 139.7, I believe that must be on an out lap if that didn't set. But regardless, we got James not on an out lap. We got Alexis Beast on his out lap. So I believe the only one realistically pushing right now is Formula Jonah in the Williams. It's going to be certainly interesting to see if he can improve. Certainly Duncan there, having spun at turn 2 earlier on in this qualifying session, will certainly be we'll be hoping that nobody below him can improve as we just passed the 5.5 minute mark in qualifying. Formula Jonah now through this reprofiled and slightly banked turn at the beginning here of Sector 3, and he invalidates and loses the back end. Getting out on that curb can be very, very dangerous, and proof that was right there with Formula Jonah just not being able to control that back end through there. So Boring will be coming through this final sector now and will be looking to keep it rather clean. Good little braking there, as I believe that's Speedy Gunner moving up into 6th and going that little bit faster than Duncan. Fairly clean for Boring through this final sector. He's going to have to watch out for the McLaren and the Williams there on the inside, both pulling into the pit lane. How fast can Boring go as he comes to the line? He will go 2nd quickest. 2nd place, so a very good lap from that Mercedes driver as their team sits in P2 and P4. So very good for them as of right now. I believe we have the first couple of drivers coming out. We have Alexis Beast, who's invalidated his lap. Speedy Gunner potentially on a lap. No, he is recharging. So nobody currently on a lap as Speedy Gunner spins out with just about 4 minutes left. We should see some drivers getting ready to pull out now as we approach that 4 minute mark. There will likely be a quick scramble to try and get out and get a lap in cleanly. Will certainly be interesting to see how this pans out. But yeah, if you're in that comment section, if you want to go ahead and give a prediction, would love to see some of that. Obviously, Crooner and Bamboo Vegas definitely the favorites, and then Formula Jonah has definitely struggled a little bit today, but I think those three are generally the drivers that you'd expect to see up at the front. But with the additions of Boring and Elgin, and even James in that top 5, it could certainly end up turning into a very, very interesting race. So we have everybody in that pit lane now. As we have never mind, just as I say that, I believe that maybe Jonah, who will be the first back out on track with just about 2.5 minutes left. These drivers are going to have to start coming out right about now if they want to try and get a clean lap in and not be in a scramble, as I believe that's James and maybe Speedy Gunner, and either Speedy Gunner or Finicky as of late. I'm trying to get it sorted out as best I can. As we have there's a big train of 5 cars now all pulling out into the pit lane through the last couple of cars coming out of that pit lane now. There's Crooner, and I believe Boring coming out. So all drivers left in this qualifying session will be out on the circuit. There's the Alpha Tauri there's an Alpha Tauri going a little bit slowly to try and get to the back of that pack, and that's T34. Just kind of holding back and getting ready to go. But first to set a lap here on these final qualifying runs will be Formula Jonah in the Williams. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he can potentially do. So very strong down into this tight turn 1. Don't want to try to, again, want to stay off that curve to the inside. It can bump you out wide. Through this quick turns 2 and 3. Kind of chicane here. Again, stay off the curb. The Tepper may be on the exit here and down through turn 4. 10th up through that first sector is Formula Jonah as he comes now into the hairpin of turn 5 and blasts down onto this back straight. Rear wing going to be wide open at the back as Jonah looks to pick up those very, very valuable tenths of a second. You can see James behind him on the way, and I believe that's either Fireball or Speedy Gunner in the Alfa Romeo behind him looking to get laps in. As we just have about 20 seconds left to go, so all drivers will get their laps in for this last qualifying session, and Formula Jonah staying tight to the inside there of the wall, 2/10 down on his original time as he makes his way down into turn number 8. Now you have 9, 10, 11, this triple right-hander, which can be very easy to get wrong, especially down into this hard braking zone. Very solid through the 12 and 13 now. Very solid as Crooner is out of this race, or is out of this qualifying session, rather. Looks like he lost traction there at the exit of turn 5, but it's Formula Jonah first to the line, and where will he go? He will move up into 8th place. James has invalidated and has spun it on this final corner, so he will not improve. And then we have Fireball, who is also invalidated. We have a spinning Alpha Tauri to the inside. Can Bamboo Vegas improve and potentially get closer to pole? He's not significantly up, so Crooner may not be a threat. Here comes Bamboo Vegas to the line now, and he will go second quickest. We have a Mercedes coming to the line of Elgem. He will go third. The Alfa Romeo of Speedy Gunner will stay 6th. And it's Boring and T34 last to set times here in this qualifying session. It's T34 and the Alpha Tauri to the line. He will go 10th quickest. Boring coming through this final sector, through these final 2 corners, reprofiled specifically on this game. Can he improve and potentially beat his teammate on that second row of the grid? He will move onto the front row of the grid. He goes faster than Bamboo Vegas. And so it'll be Crooner from Boring in the Mercedes, followed by Bamboo Vegas. This as your top 3 here in qualifying. Okay, I'm chill out for a bit, but as your starting grid, Crooner from Boring, it's Bamboo Vegas, followed by Elgem, all separated by about 4/10 of a second, and then you have James 443, Speedy Gunner, Alexis Beast, Formula Jonah potentially out of place down there in 8th, followed by Duncan, T34, Worried Cloud, Fireball, Luke to Red, Dodaligo in that Aston Martin. So it's French 1-3 with those 2 drivers going at it here in this race. It'll be certainly interesting to see how exactly this race pans out, and definitely don't go away as of right now, because we're going to be jumping straight into it, as currently we have formation lap turned off just due to a bug in the game, due to an audio bug in game. So all drivers are going to have to be paying very close attention to those around them, and hopefully turn 1 here can be a little bit cleaner than it was in Group 1 yesterday. Again, a very interesting race, commented by 2 of our drivers here, of James 443 and Formula Jonah, and it's definitely worth it to go give that race a look, just for their commentary alone, but it was also a great race on its own. Certainly very interesting to see what tire compounds each of these drivers choose. The softs are only going to last about 7 or 8 laps around this circuit, especially early, so it'll be very interesting to see if anybody decides to take that gamble and really hope for an early safety car and potentially a 2-stop. We're going to be jumping straight into this one. It's Crooner on pole. We have 5 red lights, and we are underway here at the lights in Abu Dhabi. It looks like a clean getaway from Crooner, who pulls away, and it's Elgem down the inside of the Haas. It seems to be fairly clean behind, a little bit of contact towards the back of the grid, but it's Crooner currently holding the lead from Boring and Elgem. Bamboo Vegas is currently sitting in 4th, with Speedy Gunner in 5th, as they all file down into this hairpin now it's still Crooner holding the lead. Fireball dropping a little bit as T34 and Luke 2 Red battle. Formula Jonah, definitely a big loser there at the start. But it's certainly a very interesting choice of tires. Formula Jonah and T34 side by side there towards the back as Elgem and Yaboring go side by side. 3 wide behind them as the one Mercedes goes down the inside of the other. It's Speedy Gunner followed by James. James looking around the outside behind as we now have a yellow flag back in Sector 2. I did not quite catch who that is. Potentially that was Fireball being spun a little bit. But Crooner getting away cleanly on those medium tires. Is clean through on lap 1 as Duncan, and Crooner has spun. He's lost it down at the hairpin of turn 8. Big mistake there from the Red Bull driver on cold tires, which means that Elgem now leads this race, and it's a Mercedes 1-2. James 443 there at turn number 8, losing it under traction and dropping all the way back from pole back into 13th position. So Bamboo Vegas, sitting second in the championship, will be looking to take advantage as Alexis Beast and Speedy Gunner battle side by side, and it's Speedy Gunner able to keep the position through turn 5 as Luke Dodoligo and T34 got caught up in an incident. Dodoligo was there, and that's going to be Crooner looking to take advantage as he gets an overtake in. Speedy Gunner and Alexis Beast still side by side as Speedy Gunner has to go wide a little bit, potentially cutting the chicane. He's going to have to give that position back to Alexis Beast. And that position has been confirmed, but the Alfa Romeo is going to be looking down on the outside and watch out for Worried Cloud in the Alpine behind there. As the Alfa Romeo goes around the outside, the AlphaTauri looking to stick it back up the inside as the McLaren, James 443 spins. Very similarly to how we saw Crooner early on, and he's going to fall right down the order, right down with Crooner. And Worried Cloud and Alexa Beast now side by side as they make their way through this double left-hander. Speedy Gunner able to get through, and now it's the Alpine and the AlphaTauri going to war. As we have a yellow flag in Sector 3, that's a big wreck. That's a big crash. That's Fireball, James, and Dodoligo all getting caught up with each other. But now that's allowed Elgem, Yaboring, and Bamboo Vegas to form a little bit of a getaway at the front. It's Alexis Beast around the outside of the Alpine down into turn 1. He's made that move stick, being able to re-overtake Worried Cloud down the pit straight now, as James seems to have damage. That McLaren car is now pulling into the pit lane. We've got Formula Jonah and Duncan being close together in the back. Will the Aston Martin looked on the inside as Crooner is able to overtake Luke 2 Red in the Williams. As DRS, of course, now enabled here on lap number 3. At the front, we got Speedy Gunner and Worried Cloud once again going at it. So pixelated. Okay, I'm very sorry about that. Let me see if... I don't know if I can fix that or not. I'm very sorry about that. I don't know why it's looking so pixelated. But I'll... if we get a chance, I will definitely try and reset quickly to try and get that better. I think that just may be a connection issue on my front. As there's the Alpine and the AlphaTauri going side by side again as they go through the triple right-hander, and it's Alexis Beast moving up into 5th position, being able to re-overtake Worried Cloud. But it's 1 second gaps out at the front. It's Elgem leading the way, with Yaboring acting as a little bit of a tail gunner as Elgem sets the new fastest lap of the race with a 1:27.9 second lap time. As Crooner and Duncan now swap places, I think the Aston Martin getting a little bit out of shape behind there, and that's Crooner moving up into 8th place. So that the Red Bull driver going to be looking to have a nice little recovery drive back there after spinning on lap number 1. Looks like Elgem and Yaboring able to make a little bit of a breakaway from... No, actually, Bamboo Vegas still retaining it as Formula Jonah and Crooner go side by side. Potentially a little bit of contact there as it's James in the back having a lot of issues with traction there. And it's Crooner and Formula Jonah going at it. Alexis Beast and Speedy Gunner are swapping positions up yet again. It's Speedy down the inside of the chicane. Going to be looking to potentially run the AlphaTauri out of room as they move down onto this back straight. Alexis Beast going to have DRS as they come down here into turn number 8. Will this AlphaTauri look around the outside? Yes, he will. A little bit of contact there with the Alfa Romeo, looking for the switchback, and he gets the switcheroo. They're now side by side as they now come through the triple left-hander. A little bit of contact again to the inside there, and it's the Alfa Romeo of Speedy Gunner sticking it down the inside. Another look at the cutback from Alexis Beats, but that's not quite going to stick, as the Alfa Romeo is going to win this battle for the moment. It's going to be really interesting to see how this battle continues to play out throughout the rest of this race. But it's still the two Mercedes up at the front, but the front three separated by about 1 second now, and it's about a 6.5 second gap back to the rest of the field. Of course, you have Boring being one of the big gainers here, being on a different strategy to the others. As we have a spinner, I believe that's Worried Cloud's Alpine, and he's lost a front wing. And is that a virtual safety car or a full safety car? Let me see if I can see here. That is a full safety car, so I will take this opportunity to quickly reset the stream and hopefully get a slightly better quality for you guys watching. Definitely apologize for that. But we'll have a full safety car because of that incident with Worried Cloud potentially getting some debris on the track